Sean, I know you're a subscriber. If you win the toss, take the ball. I want to see it.
Buffalo Plus, your interactive look at the week in football, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Mike Catalano along with Dan Fates. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're back in Cincinnati. Getting ready for the game. All right, we're going to have the 5 players to watch for the game coming up on Sunday night here at Paycor Stadium, the Jungle, as they refer to it here in Cincinnati. But let's talk a little bit about what it feels like to be back here. Because 10 months ago, we were here for the game. When Damar Hamlin goes into cardiac arrest, you were in the field, I was in the press box. It's something neither of us will ever forget.
No. Eerie may not be the correct word because of coming back here with Damar on the team, a possibility. We don't think he's going to play. Again, we can get to that as some players to watch, but it feels weird. It doesn't feel like a normal game where we just show up and go, oh, this is a big game, right? Sunday night, all of these things. There is an undertone of remembering what happened here and what do you call it, triggering, but it just brings back a lot of scary emotions. And this is where we filmed our block, because that night, behind the scenes, like, we didn't know what to do.
No.
And you've been covering the team for 100 years, and you were the one that looked at me and said, like, what do we do?
Yeah.
And I was like, you're the one, Mike, that knows everything to do. So I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And we waited until the following day to do a video and kind of recap our perspective without saying what we didn't know, right? Like we really were trying to keep it just facts, what we've heard, what we saw, what we experienced. It was right here.
Yeah, right in this spot.
So,
and of course, then we spent the day at the hospital, but you mentioned it. Damar's doing great.
Yeah.
Like, he's back, he's with the team, and we don't know if he's going to play. But then what happened between these teams, because they didn't play the game that night, and then they met in the playoffs, and Bengals dominated them. That is a game, I think, in a different way than 13 seconds. 13 seconds stings the Bills.
Because it was one play.
Because of how they blew that game.
Yes.
They should have been going to the AFC title game. They know it.
Correct.
That Bengals playoff game a year ago stings them because the Bengals dominated them. Both sides of the ball. Yeah.
Jordan Phillips, I think, said it best.
Like, of course, what happened last year was a tragedy, but it brought us a lot of people together as well. So you got a couple ways to look at it, but we're just there to play football.
Have you thought about what the emotions will be like for you personally? Being there, seeing it, and then going back to that place again?
As far as Damar goes, like, he's going to handle his situation. But me personally, I'm focused on how they beat our ass 2 times in a row. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He did. That was, like you said, the comparison of different heartbreaking playoff losses. It was just a complete beatdown. The Bengals just dominated from start to finish. Every complimentary football side that Sean McDermott likes to say, they were better in every side. And that is going to be, I think that's the lasting memory, thankfully, because Damar's okay. That's the lasting memory of the Bengals just beating the Bills senselessly at home. That was the big thing.
Yeah.
It was, we got to get home playoff games. It didn't matter because the Bengals came in and smashed you.
All right, so this is not a playoff game, but it's a big game in the standings, big game for the psyche of this team to go against a good team that's playing really well as they come into this, winning 3 in a row. Joe Burrow's healthy. We'll talk about him in a second. But it's the Bills.
Yep.
We got to talk about Josh Allen
Yep.
and the offense and Ken Dorsey. So they came off, I thought, was a really good game.
Phenomenal.
Maybe not like the Miami game where they just lit it up with points, but an efficient game, a game they had a plan, they executed it well, and now you got Josh, the banged-up shoulder. I think that's just something he's going to deal with for a while. What do you need to see out of Josh Allen with Ken Dorsey in this game?
I need them to continue to do what worked, and that was, again, going back, going up-tempo, neutralizing, taking away what defenses do well. Don't always be worried about what defenses are going to counter you and things like that. Go play your game. And when you were able to do that, and when they went up-tempo, they were able to dictate things. That's what they wanted to do with 12 personnel. That's another story. But going up-tempo allowed them to be free. That was the big thing, right, Mike? They just looked fluid. They looked in control. The Bucs were on their heels. And I remember asking Mitch Morse about it after the game, that when you go up tempo, you start to see the defensive guys with their hands on their hips. You can kind of start to lean on them and continue to push them. And then you have Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and the weapons all around him. That's what I want to see more of. I don't want to go back to, well, that was just 1 week. No, if it worked, keep going to it.
Yeah, I guess what I want to see out of Ken Dorsey is the ability to adapt too, because they've put that on tape now.
Yep.
This is what the Bills can do. But we've also seen them in 12 personnel making changes and being effective too.
Yeah.
So they have done both. They went through that bad stretch. This got them out of it a little bit, but we'll see how they do coming into tomorrow.
That's why Dan Orlovsky talks about the difference between being a good play caller and calling a good game. Being able to adjust. If the up-tempo isn't working, can you pivot? Can you have your game plan and your scripted plays and then being able to adjust from it? That's what I want to be able to see Ken Dorsey do the bigger the games get.
And in terms of Josh Allen, he hasn't had really opportunities against Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
Yeah.
I mean, the first game was a quarter.
Correct.
Okay. But the playoff game was a beatdown. It wasn't all on Josh, but he wasn't good. That game ended with Stephon Diggs yelling at him on the sidelines. We've talked about that forever. That's not the issue. The issue was the offense was really bad in that game, and in the head-to-head matchup, Burrow dominated.
Yeah.
Not all on Josh, but if this is going to be a rivalry between these two, Allen knows. He's done it with Mahomes. He's played great
Correct.
in games against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I know he wants to do it against Burrow and the Bengals. And yeah, don't write it. I know Burrow doesn't play defense, but you know what I mean.
And to me, it's Allen against the Bengals defensive coordinator, who I constantly mess up, and I just say his name quicker. I think it's Lou Amarillo. Lou, the Bengals defensive coordinator, has just seemed to have. There it is.
Yeah.
Thank you. He dominated the Bills.
Amarillo is in Texas.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think I said that during the Buffalo Plus live show, and then I said it a different way.
Yeah.
I just said it quicker. It's like
Yeah.
Worcestershire sauce. Like you just go with it, commit
Just
to
say
it.
Lou.
Yeah. So that's where I want to see, because Lou dominated that game, and the Bengals defense dominated that game. They're a good defense. They're not great. I think they have holes in their secondary, and that's where I think Josh Allen and Ken Dorsey have to be able. That's the matchup I'm looking for. Those two coordinators going head-to-head against one another.
Yeah, and look, they've been turning the teams over a lot.
Yeah.
I think they've had 6, 7, 8 turnovers in these 3 wins, so that's been a big plus for them. We know if Josh doesn't turn the ball over, it's hard to stop this offense. And you know what else makes this offense hard to stop? When the second or third or fourth receivers are involved, which is why the last game was so good, because Kincaid was really good, Gabe Davis was great, Khalil Shakir was a absolute force in the game.
Yeah.
You're not going to always get all 4 receivers like that.
Yeah.
But, man, you need at least a second and maybe a third in this game.
Yeah, and to take pressure off Stephon Diggs. That's what this is making the defense have to worry about somebody other than 14. And we saw it, whether it was Shakir in the slot, which maybe we didn't know exactly what we were going to do, but Gabe stepping up. Well, he had 14 targets last week, caught 9 passes. Like, he was ran a crossing pattern.
Yeah.
Like, we checked with the league. It was okay for the Bills to run a crossing pattern. But just dependable guys. That's what's and we've seen it with Dalton Kincaid, who I think he has taken this offense to another level in the last 2 weeks, become a dependable guy to lean on. All those are great. I will say, primetime Stephon Diggs is special.
Yeah.
The bigger the lights, the brighter the lights, the bigger Stephon Diggs has played. They have played 8 primetime games since the start of last season. He's averaging 102 yards in those games. He has been playing phenomenal on Monday nights, Sunday nights, and Thursday nights.
It's funny. He goes, 9 catches for 70 yards. It was
Diggs
didn't have a because he's had to carry the load so much.
They will show the clip over 2.5 times of him on the sidelines and all that stuff. I think Diggs has another big game. But you need somebody else to factor in that as well.
100%. Let's go to the other side, and we'll get to their receivers in a second. Joe Burrow was not healthy at the beginning of the year. We talked to Dan Horde, does the play-by-play here. He's like, the guy couldn't move, and it really impacted them, and they lost, and their offense was bad. And then all of a sudden he got healthy, and now he's playing great. And he's a confident young fellow, isn't he?
Slightly. And what do they call him?
Joe Shiesty.
Joe Shiesty.
Yes. I could go over all that with you again, but I've given everybody the lesson on it. We know who he is. Look, he's got an arrogance to him. He's got a cockiness to him. but it works for him. You know how he's going to come into this game. He's going to have some sort of a fur jacket or I don't know, whatever he's going to wear.
It's going to be great.
That's the way he is. He's
Yeah.
got the Joe Cool to him. He has, at least to this point, what Josh doesn't have. He's won in Kansas City in the playoffs. He's gone to the Super Bowl,
Yep.
which is a couple of things that have held Josh Allen back from being that level.
Yeah.
Do I think he is a better quarterback than Josh Allen? No. I think they're different quarterbacks.
I agree.
think they're both outstanding. They play the game differently.
Yeah.
But I think he's got the edge at the moment because of that playoff game last year.
They both, most quarterbacks, if you need to bring them down. That both of them love to extend plays. Burrow, especially with the calf that was bothering him,
Yeah.
he is not going to run like Josh Allen, but he's able to be slippery enough to extend plays and get out of pressure. That's what he has done.
Yeah.
Dan Hoard talked about he was a statue.
Yeah.
He's no longer a statue, but you got to get to him. And I think that, again, defensive line got to Baker a couple times last week, pressured him, wasn't able to bring him down. That's what they got to be able to do against Burrow tomorrow night.
Yeah, I know. We talk about his weapons. And the criticism of the Bills has been that it's Diggs, like you mentioned,
Yes.
way ahead of everybody. Well, Jamar Chase has been the dominant guy. Now, there's been reasons behind that. First, it started out with, obviously, Burrow not being healthy,
Yeah.
Chase still making some plays. But T. Higgins had not been healthy. He's coming around.
Yeah.
They still have Boyd, who is just a great NFL, not a great player, but a great pro.
Dependable, yeah.
Very dependable player.
Yep.
You know, they've been able to do that, but Jamar Chase is just special.
Yeah.
Josh Norman's been activated from the
Yeah.
practice squad. I think he's going to play. I think he's a special teams guy for
Yeah.
right now. We'll see if Rasul Douglas gets time out on the field. I think he's going to.
I don't see why not. I don't see the harm. And we were talking about as we we're going through the airport. Do you trust Rasul Douglas more than you trust Jamarcus Ingram or somebody
Right.
like that? Like in a pinch of does he have 5 basic concepts down or 3 basic concepts that you can put him in there? Because the size of some of these wide receivers with Boyd and Higgins and these guys, like, man, you're going to need size to go along with it. I like Christian Benford. I have been a Christian Benford stan account since the start of last season.
Right.
This will be a massive test with all that Chase brings, with the speed and the shiftiness and the route running ability. So again, Dane played well. How do you handle this though? Because we've seen Poyer come into the box more as a linebacker the last game.
Yeah.
We continue to do that. You see more 3 safeties, all
That's
those
another
things.
thing you put on tape now.
Yeah.
You've shown everybody you'll do that. And I think for them, that's talking about getting your best players on the field.
Yeah.
You're not going to replace Milano. You're just not. You can
Right.
put another guy at linebacker, but you're not getting a Milano or anything close to it. So they made the call to really get the 3 safeties on the field a lot of the time. You know, you talk about your favorite coach for the Bengals. He's running their defense. How about Sean McDermott? How about this game for Sean McDermott against the Bengals?
Who picked him apart in that playoff game?
In the playoff game. It wasn't like they were going for 80-yard touchdowns. They just methodically moved down the field on him, did it from the beginning.
Yep.
I want to see what McDermott's got going for him. It'd help if, look, I don't think Rousseau's been fully healthy.
I agree.
Vaughn's not back yet. Ed Oliver made a huge impact in the last game. But Vaughn's getting closer.
Yep.
He's getting closer. If Rousseau's feeling better and he's been full at practice, I think that could make a huge difference because you've got to get some pressure on him. If he's just standing back there, he will crush you.
Yeah, whether it's, you know, they blitzed Trey a couple of times back when he was healthy. Like, they haven't been a big blitzing team.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to blitz.
You got to do, but again, you haven't shown it.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the game where you throw the wrinkle in, where Burrow's sitting there going, they just rush 4.
Yeah.
Like, maybe this is a game where you send a 5th guy, you send a 6th guy, you push the envelope.
Yeah.
You put Burrow in uncomfortable situations. No quarterback wants pressure up the middle. Talk about the defense-wise. Ed Oliver right now is the Bills' MVP on defense. Maybe he's not the best player, he's the most important player.
Yeah, he certainly is, and he's played. And then we'll see, the run defense. Joe Mixon's had a good year.
Yes.
I don't think he's a dominant back, but at times when their offensive line, strangely enough, got going against the Bills in that playoff game, they just did what they wanted in that game. They signed Linval Joseph. Hey, I say you sign these guys, you bring them in now to play. I think he's active and playing in the game tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not too hard to say be a large human being in the front. Maybe I'm simplifying defensive line play a little bit too much, but you tell him be 6'3", 330 pounds in the middle of the line.
Well, it's good to start with that.
Like
that helps.
let's start there.
I'm looking around. I do not see anybody who
Nope.
fits that description walking around here in Cincinnati. Maybe inside there at some point. but
Large
not here.
human being.
Yeah. So we'll see what it is. And then just to go back to the DeMar thing
Yep.
at the end, I want to see how the team handles this. My thought is DeMar's going to come out on the field. These people in Cincinnati were awesome last year.
Yeah.
I think when they see DeMar, if he's out there with his team, I think he's going to get a standing ovation. I think all that's going to be great. I wonder if the team, they were, the last time they were here, they were in this locker room, that place itself, I think they need to address that and get by it quickly.
I agree.
I don't know what Sean's usually has a pretty good sense of what his team needs.
Yeah.
Probably talks to the captains to see. Maybe, I don't know what they'd want to do. But I think it'll be interesting, the dynamic and how they feel coming out here.
Yeah, and it's also the Bills have gotten off to some slower starts. Emotions, I thought Brandon Beane said it best. We're all human.
Yeah.
Like, you trying to keep the football game the most important thing, but it's balancing that and getting off to a hot start. Because we talked about on the podcast, I don't think it'll be normal in the beginning. I think it will turn into a normal football game. But with everything else around this game, I think the sooner you can get it to be a football game, the better off you are.
Now, one thing, I've been asking for it. Sean, I know you're a subscriber. If you win the toss, take the ball. I want to see it.
Agreed.
Burrow told Zach Taylor, I like when we get the ball first. They started giving it to him. He started scoring points off the top from last year. I want to see the Bills' offense on the field first.
I agree.
I do not want them to be on their heels with Burrow moving them down the field and down 3-0 or 7-0 right away. Like the game that was here that day.
Yep.
They walked down the field on him. I don't know why I've become somewhat obsessed with this. It's this idea that you just constantly defer. You want, you want to double dip, all those things. How about you get out to a lead? How about you get your offense on the field and be aggressive?
When it's thought of double dipping means you have to score. I don't want the Bills to be caught back on their heels. And again, this stadium, it's something we didn't talk about because of what happened in the game. The place was rocking.
Oh, yeah.
These are fans. These are diehard fans. They know football, all of these things. This will be a very hostile environment. I think these teams, even before the game, I remember Jordan Phillips and Ed Oliver, they were at midfield as the Bengals are getting introduced. I was like, we're going to fight before this game started. And that was just a Monday night game.
Jordan Phillips in the middle
Never.
of that? Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. I want to see, we always talked about it with the Bills and Chiefs, right? First it was a COVID game, and then it was rain, and then it was injuries.
We didn't get the Mahomes and Allen
show.
Right.
Let's do it. I want the Mahomes and Allen show, and I want to start out by seeing Allen having the ball.
Yeah, that's what I want. So, Sean, if you're listening, by the way, if you are listening and you agree with that, there's a few other things I'd like to go over with you.
Yes.
I'll save those for the next podcast.
That's it.
How does that sound? All right. We're excited about this one. We will be here. You'll get complete coverage here on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. So we'll be here.
Beautiful weather.
I know. This is awesome. This is great. I think it's supposed to be pretty nice for Sunday night. So Sunday night football. By the way, get some rest, because then we got Monday night the next week. It's 4 out of 5 games, the night games. I'm getting too old for this stuff.
You are getting too old for
I know.
this.
All right. For Jenna back at home and Dan Fates, I'm Mike Catalano. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Anywhere you get your podcast to, check it out on all your audio channels, whether that's Stitcher, Spotify, iHeart, wherever that is too. You can always catch us there. For Dan, I'm Mike. We'll see you next time on Buffalo Plus.
Buffalo Plus, your interactive look at the week in football, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.